Hello, thank you for tuning in to this wonderful story, and I hope you learned something from it. Emily was 21 years old, a lively young woman with big dreams. Her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, worked tirelessly to make ends meet. Despite their struggles, they ensured Emily got an education. She was now in her second year at university, studying business, thanks to her parents' sacrifices. But Emily wasn't content. She often envied her wealthier friends who could afford the latest gadgets, designer clothes, and luxurious vacations. She felt trapped by her modest life and dreamed of living large. That's when her boyfriend, Ryan, came up with a dangerous idea. Ryan was charming but reckless. He always found shortcuts to make quick money, and Emily was drawn to his bold personality. One evening, as they sat in his small apartment, Ryan proposed the plan.
Emily, your parents love you, right? They'd do anything to save you if something bad happened, wouldn't they? We will fake your kidnapping, call them for ransom, say we need 2 million, they'll pay, and we split the money. Easy, right?
What are you talking about?
They'll get the money somehow. And we'll start a new life. Think about it. No more struggling, no more debts.
Emily hesitated. She knew her parents were struggling. They had sold their land to pay her tuition fees, but Ryan made it sound so simple, so foolproof. After hours of convincing, Emily reluctantly agreed. She knew it was wrong, but the promise of a better life was too tempting to resist. Together, they crafted the plan. Ryan would make the call, and Emily would hide in an abandoned house outside town. They would disguise their voices to avoid suspicion. That night, Emily couldn't sleep. She thought about her parents' kind faces and all they had done for her. Guilt gnawed at her, but greed silenced her doubts. The next morning, Ryan made the call. Posing as a kidnapper, he told Mr. Smith that Emily had been taken and demanded 2 million in cash. Mr. and Mrs. Smith were devastated. They didn't have that kind of money, but they couldn't bear the thought of losing their only child. They started calling friends and family, begging for help. By evening, they had scraped together the ransom. Unaware of what awaited them, Emily and Ryan celebrated, convinced their plan was flawless. Emily sat alone in the old, abandoned house on the edge of town. The windows were cracked, and the walls were covered in peeling paint. She shivered, not just from the cold, but also from fear. Her phone buzzed. It was Ryan.
They've got the money. I told them where to drop it. By tonight, we'll be rich.
Emily forced a smile, but her stomach churned. She thought of her parents running around to gather such a huge amount. They had already sacrificed so much for her. Still, she told herself it would all be worth it once she had the money. Meanwhile, Mr. and Mrs. Smith drove nervously to the drop-off point, a deserted road near the woods. The ransom, packed in a black duffel bag, was all the money they had managed to gather by borrowing, selling, and begging. As instructed, they left the bag under a large tree and drove away, praying their daughter would come back safe. Hidden nearby, Ryan waited. When the coast was clear, he grabbed the bag and called Emily.
I've got the money. Meet me at the usual spot, and Emily, please be careful.
Emily sneaked out of the abandoned house and joined Ryan at his apartment. Her heart raced as he unzipped the bag, revealing stacks of cash, but their celebration was short-lived. They didn't know that the police had been watching the drop-off site. Suspicious of how the kidnappers acted, Mr. Smith had secretly reported the incident to the authorities. Officers followed Ryan to his apartment, ready to make their move. Emily and Ryan were counting the money when the door suddenly burst open. Armed officers stormed in, shouting, "Freeze! Hands up!" Emily screamed, dropping a handful of cash. Ryan tried to run but was quickly caught. Both of them were handcuffed and taken into custody. In the police car, Emily's mind raced. She had thought they would get away with it. Now, she was filled with regret as she realized how badly she had hurt her parents. "Please wait," If you like this story, don't forget to comment, like, and share. Emily and Ryan were taken to the police station, where they were interrogated separately. At first, Ryan tried to act tough, denying everything, but faced with evidence, including the ransom money and phone records, he eventually confessed. Emily broke down in tears during her questioning.
I didn't want to do it. I thought it would make life easier.
Her words didn't erase the damage caused. The police contacted Mr. and Mrs. Smith, informing them that their daughter was safe but had been involved in the scheme. When the Smiths arrived at the station, they were heartbroken. Emily couldn't meet their eyes as they listened to the officers explain the plot.
We gave you everything we had, Emily. Why would you do this to us?
Emily tried to apologize, but the damage was done. The money was returned, but the trust was shattered. The court case moved quickly. Ryan, seen as the mastermind, received a heavier sentence for fraud and extortion. Emily, being a first-time offender, received a lighter sentence but was still punished for her role in the crime. Months later, sitting in her prison cell, Emily reflected on her actions. She realized how much her parents had sacrificed for her and how her greed had caused them pain. She vowed to change, but she knew it would take years to rebuild what she had broken. As for her parents, they remained heartbroken, but hoped their daughter would learn from her mistakes and choose a better path once she was free.